So guys, like we all know, Mr. Peter Obi has said this election had issues and that those issues must be sorted out in court.
The election had issues and those issues will be sorted out in court. I'll be shocked if this country goes on with that situation. It will then stamp that it is a complete criminalized country. We can't allow it. We need to start unbundling this criminality. And that's why people are calling about structure. When they were advertising structure or not structure, it is this criminality and fraud that we witness is what they're talking about. And we want to unbundle it for the sake of our children.
It's always
not to be qualified to have run for the election in the first place. According to the Constitution, the presidential candidate shall nominate the vice presidential candidate. However, the nominated candidate must not be running for any elective office at the time of the official nomination. In the case of Bola Tinubu, he nominated Kashim Shettima as the vice presidential candidate on July 14, 2022. Peter Obi and the Labour Party are saying that if all results from all polling units are properly collated, it will show that Peter Obi won the election.
So guys, if you are doubting if Mr. Peter Obi will be able to prove his case in court, I urge you to stay tuned and watch this video from beginning to end. Just take your time, relax and pay attention to this video. I tell you, Mr. Peter Obi's petition against the declaration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu in court is a very strong petition, and I tell you, nobody can escape it. The trap that Mr. Peter Obi has set this time, nobody can escape it. So guys, let's hear what this video got to say. All credits to Oya Nigeria TV. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification bell. Please give this video a like so that YouTube can recommend it to others, and let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you.
Peter Obi and the Labour Party are saying that if all results from all polling units are properly collated, it will show that Peter Obi won the election. Welcome back to this channel. Much as what has been talked about in recent days is Peter Obi submitting his petition to the Presidential Election Tribunal. And for a lot of people, they've been wondering, does he really have a case? Well, I've been able to go through the whole petition that he's made available online, and I've been able to break down the key areas in which he's asking for legal remedy from the courts. Case number 1, Bola Tinubu and Kashim Shettima, the vice presidential candidate, are deemed not to be qualified to have run for the election in the first place. According to the Constitution, the presidential candidate shall nominate the vice presidential candidate. However, the nominated candidate must not be running for any elective office at the time of the official nomination. In the case of Bola Tinubu, he nominated Kashim Shettima as the vice presidential candidate on July 14, 2022. However, on the date of that nomination, Shettima was still the senatorial candidate for Borno Central Senatorial District. Shettima only withdrew from the senatorial race on the 15th of July 2022. Therefore, Peter Obi and the Labour Party are asking the court to disqualify both Tinubu and Shettima from the race as they were not qualified to run in the first place, and invalidate the votes they received. You may be wondering, even if Shettima is not qualified, how does that affect Bola Tinubu? It does, because it ought to be a joint ticket. Both the presidential candidate and the vice presidential candidates are a singular item as far as running for the election is concerned. If one is not qualified, then the other is not qualified. That's case number 1. Case number 2. The election of Bola Tinubu was based on corrupt practices and non-compliance of the Electoral Act. Bola Tinubu was not qualified to run for the presidency because he was fined $460,000 by United States District Court, according to the Peter Obi petition. The United States District Court fined Tinubu for dishonesty, namely narcotics trafficking. Peter Obi and the Labour Party are therefore saying by reason of such fine, Bola Tinubu should be disqualified from running for the presidency of Nigeria. Therefore, all the votes that are cast for him in the election should be invalidated by the courts. Case number 3. INEC did not comply with the Electoral Act. This particular case is based on INEC's performance. By virtue of the Electoral Act, INEC was required to use technological devices to accredit, verify, confirm, and authenticate voters. And for this purpose, on election day, INEC actually deployed bimodal voters accreditation systems, popularly known as beavers. To this end, INEC was required to use these beavers to electronically transmit the results from the polling units to the INEC collection centers or system. The presiding officer at the polling unit was required by law to use the beavers to scan and upload the results, that is the Form EC8A, to IRF viewing portal in real time, that is as it is happening on the ground. If the beavers fail, as INEC claimed, INEC was required to send a replacement beavers machine, and if that also fails, then INEC is required to cancel that particular election for that polling unit and reschedule it within 24 hours. That is what the law says. INEC obviously did not follow these guidelines. So, Peter Obi and the Labour Party are therefore asking the court to nullify election results in polling units that did not strictly follow these important guidelines. As we all know, that would be the entire country. Case number 4. No one is allowed to vote in a polling unit they are not registered for. Using the PVC, INEC staff were required to verify, confirm and authenticate voters before they are allowed to vote. This is to prevent people who are not registered to vote in a particular polling unit to actually vote there. INEC did not fully follow this guideline. Where this is the case, Peter Obi and the Labour Party says such results must be invalidated. Common sense, right? An interesting point made in the petition, almost on a side note, is that INEC uses Amazon Web Services to store its data. Peter Obi and the Labour Party has said they reserve the right to call Amazon staff to testify about the data stored in the Amazon storage facility by INEC. The implication of this is that if there are changes or differences from what is in the Beavers machine and IRF as opposed to what they have in the Amazon cloud storage services, INEC will have to explain the differences. Case number 5. The number of accredited voters in a polling unit must correspond with the number of votes captured in Beavers. The results uploaded in Beavers must match those from the polling units according to the INEC regulations. There are significant discrepancies in the votes cast versus the votes captured. Another reason to invalidate the votes, according to Peter Obi. Peter Obi also filed that INEC denied him and the Labour Party the court mandated order to allow them to view the certified copy of the election documents. INEC refused Peter Obi and his team to see all documents, specifically from Rivers State, Bayelsa State, and Benue State. The question is, what was INEC hiding by this action? The total number of votes cast in a polling unit should equal the number of accredited voters in the Beavers. Peter Obi is saying that the results of the following states did not match: Ekiti State, Oyo State, Ondo State, Taraba State, Osun State, Kano State, Rivers State, Borno State, Katsina State, Kwara State, Gombe, Yobe, and Niger State. He also said that the computation and declaration of results from the following states did not comply with the law: Rivers State, Lagos, Taraba, Benue, Adamawa, Imo, Bauchi, Borno, Kaduna, Plateau, etc. With this alone, how can the court not invalidate Bola Tinubu as winner of the election? Just keep watching. Case number 6. The lack of tracking data in INEC documents. INEC refused to record the serial numbers and identifying information in sensitive election documents such as ballot papers, and also refused to account for the number of documents. This is how they were able to manipulate the results. Without this data and metadata, it is impossible to track documents. INEC knew exactly what they were doing. Case number 7. Uploading unreadable documents and suppressing the votes of Peter Obi. INEC suppressed the votes of Peter Obi and the Labour Party in 18,088 polling units. INEC did this by deliberately uploading unreadable or blurred documents on the IRF. The implication of this is that there are discrepancies in the results uploaded versus the result obtained from the polling units. For example, according to INEC announcement for Rivers State, Peter Obi scored 175,071 votes, while Bola Tinubu scored 231,591 votes. However, the actual results from the polling units shows that Peter Obi actually scored 205,110 votes, while Bola Tinubu scored 84,108 votes. This is in Rivers State. For Benue State, INEC announced that Peter Obi scored 308,372 votes, while Bola Tinubu scored 310,468 votes. However, the actual result from the polling units showed that Peter Obi actually scored 329,003 votes, while Bola Tinubu scored 300,421 votes. Peter Obi is asking that for these two states, the results should be corrected and applied accordingly. Peter Obi and the Labour Party are saying that if all results from all polling units are properly collated, it will show that Peter Obi won the election. Case number 8, the case of Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. This may be the most damaging of all the evidence for Bola Tinubu. Bola Tinubu did not score 25% of the votes in 24 states as well as Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. For that singular reason alone, he should not have been declared the winner of the presidential election. The only party and candidate that scored the required percentage of vote is Peter Obi and the Labour Party. They are therefore contending that Peter Obi meets this requirement and should be declared the winner of the presidential election. Now we wait and see what court will do. Let me know what you think in the comment section. If you think this is enough for Peter Obi to be declared president or for the election.
So guys, you have seen it for yourself that Mr. Peter Obi took his time, He took his time. We all know that Peter Obi is an intelligent man. He's a man that doesn't do things anyhow. He took his time to dig out the points that he's going to use to fight against Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Shettima in court. And I tell you, his lawyers have done a very good job. Everybody is praising Mr. Peter Obi's petition in court because, this one, as in our judges cannot just sweep them under the carpet. Do you know what it means bringing in international personalities to come and testify in court against the fraud that INEC displayed during this election? Do you know what that means? Shettima was a senatorial candidate. And still, he came up to become a vice presidential candidate. These are some of the things that Mr. Peter Obi is going to use to fight these people in court. And I tell you, there is no hiding place for them. There is no hiding place for them. So, guys, you've
election had issues. And those issues will be sorted out in court. I'll be shocked if this country goes on with that situation. It will then stamp that it is a complete criminalized country. We can't allow it. We need to start unbundling this criminality. And that's why people are calling about structure. When they were advertising structure or not structure, it is this criminality and fraud that we witness is what they're talking about. And we want to unbundle it for the sake of our children.
It's always
So guys, Mr. Peter Obi was on Arise TV today where he reacted to the just concluded presidential poll. We all know what happened during this election, how INEC told the world that we're going to use beavers and that the results will be uploaded from the polling unit direct to the INEC portal. But that didn't happen. And in this interview, Mr. Peter Obi spoke extensively, as to the way he sees the just concluded election. Honestly, he insisted that he's not going to, align with the APC. He's going to fight to the end of this cause. Mr. Peter Obi insisted that he's going to make sure he legally challenge, the process of this election and the results, the outcome, that he's not giving up, as in he's going to fight until he sees the end. That if he doesn't challenge this process, it means that things will continue like this and Nigeria will never be better. So this is a nice time for him to challenge this and ensure he follows it to the end so that things will change and we'll start building a better society. So guys, this interview is very, very educative because Mr. Peter Obi made clearance to so many things. He was asked so many questions and he reacted to them wisely. Relax and listen to this interview. Don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comment section below.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, it's good to have you, really. I know that the pre-election polls, a lot of them said something. They put you as the winner. And I imagine in the whole scheme of things, you may have envisioned this moment, this period after the election as a president-elect. You may have maybe envisioned what you'll be doing, the kind of deliberations you'll be doing, but that is not the case, clearly. And I just wonder, from your own point of view, because we hear your manifesto, we hear all of these things, but in terms of the emotional angle, how are you handling the result of the election, which goes against perhaps what you had anticipated?
Well, for me, is when you go into a competition, especially in a transactional country as Nigeria, you expect all sorts. And whatever the outcome, the most important thing is to stay on course. And for me, I'm on course on this because we've seen probably what I consider the worst election in our recent history because of the electoral law of 2022, which gave so much hope, and the huge expenditure we put into technology. You know what it means, spending over $1 billion, 400-something billion. So there was so much that was promised. And then we went back to where we used to be. For me, that is very, very devastating. That a country as big as Nigeria, the giant of Africa, and supposedly a nation that should be celebrated globally, 63 years after independence, cannot conduct a simple election. Just election. That's how I feel. But for me, the struggle is on. We must reverse this situation.
So are you hurt? Are you saddened? Do you have hope? I just want to understand your mental state now.
I'm not hurt personally. I'm not saddened personally. But I am for my country and the future. It portends for the young ones and the future generation. Because we can't go on this way. It must be a better place. We must bequeath them a better place. It is about the future of the society. We have my generation who will say, we've lost it. But we must build a better place for them. And that building the better place is why I'm saddened. Because a simple thing as conducting an election. I can assure anybody that if today I'm in service, Nigeria will not spend near what was spent, and we have a first-class election that will be celebrated globally. Look at the editorials globally all over the newspapers, starting from the Financial Times to the Economist to everything, to Chatham House, that doesn't, institutions that don't make comments, is not making comment, bringing us so low in Committee of Nations. Even one of the rating agencies downgraded our rating. Already a junk rating. Why bring us that low again?
Which of the ratings do you refer to?
Let me remember. I'll remember it because of this, because I have quite a number of them.
Okay, I just also want to understand, because this is not your first time participating in elections. I mean, you participated in governorship, you've been a running mate, and a lot of people have spoken about previous elections. You think that this is the worst in the country's recent history?
Yes, it is the worst because of, like I said, remember, I said because of the law, the 2022 law, that gave so much hope when it was passed, because all those loopholes and difficulties we used to have were taken care of. And then again, we invested in technology, which was supposed to make it seamless. And that was so much noise of from polling booth to server, and everybody would see it globally, and we advertised it. Go and look at the speech of the APC presidential candidate at Chatham House. Go and look at my own speech. Go and look at the speech of the INEC chairman in Chatham. Everybody paid so much emphasis on the law and the technology. In fact, the APC presidential candidate said that the winner, that the Beavers is evolutionary, that the winner of next election requires an overwhelming mandate of the people to have the courage to be able to do the right things for the country. I've said the same thing. And the chairman of INEC said, it will be there for the world to watch, that they can watch it from there. I mean, what else do you expect, Kade? When you promise so much, and you didn't even meet the minimum.
Mr. Obi, that's still the bone of contention here. I know that the national chairman of your party had seemingly passed a vote of no confidence on INEC, and INEC has painstakingly, through television appearances and press briefings, reassured that it has nothing to hide and that it will make documents available. Following all of those efforts by INEC, are you satisfied now? Have you been granted access to inspect the information on the BVAS machines used for the presidential election?
Well, it's not our chairman of our party that passed vote of no confidence. Nigerians have. It's not chairman of our party. Everybody, including you, I'm sure, have vote of no confidence in them. You might not say it here.
I mean, you can't be so sure, Mr.
Everybody, I'm definitely sure you could see it. Whenever there's an election announced globally, what it does is that it uplifts the rating, the status of that society. But every newspaper, go and read the Punch editorial on Sunday. And this editorial, we have never happened before where we have bad editorial globally and internally, where people are saddened. Go to the airport. If you're not sure, but just when you finish this program, go out on the street and ask people, how do you feel? And they'll tell you. So Nigerians have passed vote of no confidence, not the chairman of Labour Party. An issue of BVAS and everything, we have legally, within the law, approached INEC requesting to inspect the materials on which they conducted the election. And I believe they are cooperating. Even when they said they will configure, they've said they are going to put it at the back end server so that we'll be able, after the election. And for me, we don't want to disrupt the process, electoral process that is ongoing. We want to do things in an organized manner, because at the end of the day, it's our country.
But have you been granted that unfettered access now? It's just 2 days to...
Yes, we've been granted that, but you know they're going to do elections, so they said when they finish the election, they'll give us the APC, which for me is okay.
Okay.
Let them do whatever they want to do so that we can have, and I pray that this one become better than the last one.
So guys, he was also asked about him winning Lagos, because the Labour Party is insisting that the number of votes allocated to Mr. Peter Obi in Lagos is lesser than what was actually realized. Let me allow you to listen to what he said.
Still on the election, it was a shocker that you won Lagos. And not one, at least I've heard two members of your party say that the votes that went to the Labour Party from Lagos during the presidential election actually was about 900,000. And I'm just wondering how believable.
And people keep saying that INEC was really in a hurry to have announced Tinubu to be the winner of this election, despite the fact that he could not even secure the FCT. Don't forget that this election is still being challenged, despite the INEC coming up to say Tinubu won. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification bell. Please give this video a like and let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you.